You're listening to this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. It would greatly benefit the show. Hello and welcome back to Movie Beaters with the Farx brothers. I'm Kirk.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Nick.
And we're joined by writer, director, and producer Nick Swedlund. This is the spoilers for Sanctified?
Have your kids seen Sanctified?
Yeah, they came to my oldest son came to the premiere in Bismarck, and then when it screened at the Twin Cities Film Fest, they all saw it. Yeah.
All 5 of them?
Well, the little two saw parts, and then
Sure.
my wife at the time then took them out of the theater for the more violent parts.
But it's now streaming on Jeff Bezos' streaming service.
Yeah,
that if you
Bezos is awesome. He's a great guy. Yeah,
it's also on Tubi.
We chat often. Yeah, it's on.
Sure. Were you invited to the wedding?
You know what? I couldn't go.
That's too bad.
I sent him a card.
Did you have another billionaire's wedding to go to that day?
No, I just couldn't be bothered.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, you asked about anamorphic lenses, didn't you?
Well, I was just, just confirming that my suspicion that this was shot anamorphic, which it was, and I like the anamorphic looks.
Yeah.
Because it's a Western. All Westerns are shot on
Are they?
anamorphic lessons unless they're Eddington.
Huh.
Well, I don't know the history of
most.
They
Many.
should be. No, historically, yeah, that's yeah.
Because you get more of the vista.
Is there
Exactly.
my tongue. Is there a way to tell when it's anamorphic, when it's not?
Yeah, there's on the edge of the if you think of the anamorphic lens is a circle kind of, but the fuzziness, the bokeh has a different you can kind of see the arc of the lens in it, if that makes sense.
There's usually wide lens. It's very, very noticeable distortion if you look at the the opening scene of Scream, because they shot all those anamorphic until Scream 6, but everything's super warped around the edges. So that's one of the flares, right?
And it's kind of you get like a focal vignette. Not a darkness vignette, but it's the focus is not clear and crisp on the corners. It's in the middle of the frame, in a circle, in an oval, actually.
Makes sense.
That's a 40. That was the 40 millimeter lens.
So you had a 30, a 40, and a 100?
We had 40, 60, 100.
40, 60, and 100, excuse me.
Yeah, but how does it go? The 100 is How does it go? I forget the exact conversion because I'm not a cinematographer. But 40 is a 20. The 40 anamorphic is a 20 spherical lens, and the 60 is a this, and the 100 is an 80 or whatever, something like that.
Do you understand why that is?
Well, so the way if someone were to who knew nothing about lenses were to ask me what anamorphic is, I've been trying to figure out how what the difference. To me, it's it gathers more background. If you set up a camera with a spherical and an anamorphic side by side and framed up your talent, the exact say for waist up,
in the center of the frame.
In the center of the frame, yeah. The anamorphic gets more background. How far? If I set a camera right here, how far until the Logan poster and the gas can up there enters the frame from left and right? On a spherical lens, it's and I'd have to back up. But on an anamorphic, it gathers all that up and squeezes
warping it.
It's a little more it doesn't really do it up and down though.
Yeah. It's
just
more
to
just
the side.
Just why, yeah. So that's
correct.
why when you got those big landscape shots and stuff, it's perfect for that. And that's why, and it's squeezing it to a more of a closer to a 4x3 or maybe a 16 by, depending on the anamorphic lens. But and then you de-squeeze it and you end up with usually the 2.39 to 1. Not necessarily because Jojo Rabbit shot anamorphic, but they shot it with a 1.3 squeeze, so they end up with a 1.85 to 1. So it's not always.
This is a guy who has to finish projects and answer the box questions of this 185 or is this 239.
It's not, so it's not always, but usually you're going to get the 2.39 because they were I think classically they were shooting anamorphic on the film, strictly film days. They're shooting on the roughly 4x3 film, and that was the squeeze, and then that would give you it was at least a 1.5 if not a 2, and
I've
that
never
would
seen an IMAX Western is what I'm gathering.
Oh well, sure, yeah. I don't know if they've done.
Swedlund's got
No, I realize I'm sorry. I'm referencing a different thing we just did, but I fucked up. I said Vilmos Zsigmond shot Apocalypse Now and said the thing about I'm a cinematographer. That wasn't him at all. That's Vittorio Storaro said that.
Oh, Vittorio Storaro, of course.
Sorry.
Go back and listen to the non-spoiler segment if you haven't already.
I just want to make sure that that's on the record that I know I screwed that up.
Kirk, you'll use AI to just you'll take 5 minutes of Nick's voice and clone his voice without his consent, and then
fix that in post, right?
Yeah.
Just cut
do
that
it
part
manually.
out.
Yeah.
Do you believe believe you can make an IMAX Western?
Of course you could.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, because the point of like the IMAX is that it takes the top and the bottom, but the point of like Westerns typically is that you're getting a wider frame because you're looking at, you know, a vista, a plane.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, you know, Christopher Nolan's next film, The Odyssey, is not a Western, but it's definitely a period piece, and they're doing that IMAX.
Sure, but I can see how when he's like on the boat and stuff, you've got the full mast
Sure.
in frame, or Galactus is all in frame in Fantastic Four. What? I just saw it, so it's in my mind. Did you see Eddington? We're talking about
I have not
Sanctified,
yet.
but
I need to. I want to.
Why do you want to?
Ari Aster went to IFI after a couple years after. I didn't meet him, but he went there a couple years after I did. He's the golden child right now.
Of course.
Of course he is.
Even after Beau is Afraid.
And really so.
Did you see Beau's
No,
Afraid?
I didn't see it.
I saw that in IMAX
Did you?
with Kirk.
Yeah,
You sat
and I
through the
hated
whole
it.
thing.
All 3
Yeah.
hours.
3 hours. Hated
Yeah.
No
it.
potty breaks.
No, I don't think I'll see that one. I mean, maybe, but that's a tough
I
sell
would
for me.
recommend Eddington over Beau is Afraid for sure.
Eddington, I do want to see. I think in Beau, I don't know. 3 hours is a lot for you. Whatever. No, I haven't seen Eddington. I do want to. That's on my list. For
He
sure.
argued with me that it wasn't a Western in
Eddington?
an episode
Yeah.
that will already have come out before this.
Okay.
And if you're a linear listener, you know I won that debate because it is by definition is a Western. But did I ask
agree.
you what a Western is yet in the first 2
No, you
hours of this
haven't-
conversation?
what a Western is? I mean,
What is a Western to you? Cowboy hats, guns.
I mean, at a surface level, sure, cowboy hats and horses and guns and that kind of stuff. That those tropes are definitely westerns. But westerns are like it's like as American as Shakespeare is British,
I've heard you make that reference before.
right? And I forget where I heard that. That's not mine. I did hear that from someone, and it struck a chord with me, so I remembered it. But it's like the western is as cinema is finding itself in the first 100 years or whatever, and the westerns westerns came from here, right?
Yes.
And that's what I think. It's not what makes a western, but that's an interesting historical piece of
Oh, it's kind of like
cinematic
theaters
history.
were being built up after the Renaissance, and Shakespeare had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just like his impact on theater is what it is, right? And one of the many things that the whole film industry came from America, but the Western genre is very much an influence. It's an American influence on cinema as a whole. But yeah, in the surface level, it's it's guns and hats and horses.
Is Hildy the one that is sanctified, or is West the one that's sanctified?
Well, what
Or are
do
they
you
both?
think?
No. This is, Christopher Nolan hasn't sat down here yet, so I don't get to bait him on no, the top fell. Let me tell you.
I think it is deliberately crafted in a way to ask that question at the end.
She's clearly the one that's sanctified.
I
She
agree.
sacrificed her,
Yeah,
but he's not sanctified.
but he could be.
Why could he be sanctified?
I think his sanctification process is now beginning.
because he delivered the MacGuffin.
Yeah, and because he chose to join the nuns in the church. Like the act of him leaving the horse and walking into a church from a high whatever level, that's a visual metaphor, or it's intended to be at least, of him leaving the horse and leaving his past life behind. And not that he's going to become a priest or whatever, but choosing to change his life for the better. Because the whole time he's arguing with her about God's this, God's that. He's a monster. He doesn't care about that, right? And now he's entering God's house. So
I thought he had to go to the bathroom, and
mean,
churches are
probably.
kind of like
Yeah.
hotels where if you go into any one, they pretty
It's
much have to let
fine.
you use the
He's an
bathroom.
outlaw. He
Yeah,
could pee
it's fine.
outside if he wanted to.
exactly. He does in the movie.
Yeah.
It was very important to keep. When you cut out an hour of the movie, I know you cut out something with Wes's brother being spit at, and then what was the other scene you cut out significantly?
The assault of Hildy was cut drastically
Oh,
because it was a scene between Shaw and Emmett, the brother and the bad guy, and I think it's a great scene. I liked how the framing was they're talking kind of on each side of the frame, and in the background behind them, Hildy is strung up on a tree by her hands, and the outlaws are kind of playing with their food, for lack of a better term, and they're tearing off pieces of clothing. We didn't it's still it's a safe movie, but just that enough of that kind of brutal act in the background. Dan asked me to take it out, and that kind of bothered me, but we did, and we cut it out. That was the biggest change from the script to the film.
what about the interior scene in the tent between Wes and Shaw? Isn't that another thing?
That got cut just for pacing, really, and we didn't really need it. It's in the trailer where that's just to bring up, because we're like living in this like biblical, like it's a nun, she's preaching at him, all these debates about God. But that scene where Wes goes into the tent and pulls his gun and aims it at a sleeping Shaw in the tent and aims it at him and then doesn't kill him. That's straight out of the Old Testament when David goes into King Saul's like cave and kind of does the same thing and leaves. So that's where that came from.
I had to explain to the younger Farxling why Superman doesn't let Lex Luthor die. You know, good guys don't just let the bad guy die or kill the bad guy.
Right.
Is that related?
Probably from a higher level. Yeah.
That's only 3 scenes though. That doesn't make sense for how you take out an hour of the movie.
Oh, but then trimming here and there, like the scene with the fur trapper when he gets is being interrogated by Shaw. That scene was cut down a bunch. Shaw had a very scene chewy monologue, bad guy monologue, basically. That all got trimmed down pretty heavily.
Nick loves those. Nick Farx here. He loves
monologues?
bad guy. No, you hate bad guy monologues.
Villain monologues.
Villain monologues.
When have I ever talked?
I remember you editing one of a person who is now deceased and being like, why did he pause there? Why didn't I get coverage this way? And I'm not going to say which
You mean
one.
a film that we made?
Yes.
Oh,
I know what you're filming
Yeah,
because
I
the
know.
person's dead. So that narrows it down.
croaked.
That's not me saying I don't like monologues. I'm just saying I didn't like that monologue.
He wrote that monologue. He rewrote that monologue.
Maybe
The delivery.
do I do the thing? I'm not. Do I do like when I'm going to say something bad about a religious person?
What is it? Head.
And I don't know what his
stomach,
religion was, so really it should be more what his
wallet,
religion was.
Keys.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'll just say, hey, we were rushed. I know I'm sure you're great wherever you are, down or up.
For the audience, he looked both up, down.
We were on
and
a
to the
rush
sides.
schedule, and I didn't like your performance. I'm sorry, but it's our fault. It's not your fault. That's why I didn't like it.
Was there more of the Native Americans, Nick Swedlund?
Yeah, well,
In Sanctified, not really. Well, no, there was less actually in the first draft. The first couple drafts, there was less actually. And then talking to Alan Demaray, who played Little Hawk, on the phone talked to him for like 2 hours on the phone, and he totally called. He was awesome, and he helped so much, and he opened my eyes in a way that made me feel so stupid.
As a dirty paleface?
Yes.
Okay.
wow.
It made me, but it was also a very eye-opening moment where it's like, well, of course that's the way it is. What the hell? I was thinking in like tropes, because basically in the first couple drafts, the draft, it's like the character didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of like Chelsea for the first 75% of the
Sure.
movie.
Exactly. But
Claire.
But Alan was like, well, no, my people, the Mandan people, my people. Well, he explained like we never hurt women and children. That was a very like a cultural thing for his people. And he also explained that but at the time in the 1890s when this was happening, like we spoke among all of our native languages that we spoke, we also spoke English, French, Portuguese, like, and I was like, well, of course they would have. In 1890, 1600, maybe not, right? But by 1890, of course. So then giving him a lot more lines to deliver in that campfire scene. And I definitely talked to him about I didn't want this to be like a, what's the term? The magical
person of color.
Yeah, I didn't want that.
Well, they are like the Deus Ex, native at the end.
I mean, yeah, but he returns the favor, right? Is the point.
Because she helped him.
Exactly. So
why
it's
would
not
he
just
come
like
upon them though and even interact? Wouldn't he just avoid them?
he was injured,
Just because he's injured, he goes
and he knows that this woman,
because
the
she's
women
a nun.
dressed like that, no medicine,
Sure.
and will be able to help me. Because
You'd
if
be
I
mad,
don't
right?
get help because I was shot in the back,
I won't make it.
I won't make it.
And he knows nuns help.
And the R-rated version or expanded scene that we didn't write would have been like her getting the bullet out of the skin with a pair of whatever.
You can't do that in PG-13?
Well, we just didn't want to spend the time to do it.
Well, yeah,
right?
and then
So
the shooting of it, that would be difficult.
yeah, exactly, and it elongates the thing. So we kind of made it kept it more a little mysterious, like what actually his injury was. But
What do you think this movie suffers from by being on a budget?
that's a good question.
Yeah, I know. I'm okay at this.
I
I always say that when people say good
mean,
question.
I'm pausing because we wrote it for the budget.
Yeah, of course.
So it was written for what we had available. We didn't write for something that we didn't have, and then therefore the film suffers because of that decision. if
Was
that
the
makes sense.
original script, Wes and Hildy, not written for any particular budget? It was just
I
written?
don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
that Dan wrote that, right? But I don't think so, because if you think about like just a movie having to reset a scene, if you have a musical number during a shootout in a general store, so you're talking interior, so you have to light the interior, that's time, and then you're singing, which is fine, that's rehearsals and whatever, but coordinating, orchestrating the musical part of that, I had never done and didn't want to. But then also on top of that, you've got gunfire going off. And if the guns are being fired in a general store, they're going to hit stuff that's going to blow up or at least burst. And so you've got the reset time. It was just like, okay, that saved us a week, basically.
You had stuff get hit outside that blew up?
Yeah, it's because we were outside.
Oh, it's not as...
And not during a musical number.
Fair enough. But you have directed musical numbers now, as people will find out in the interview. Performances by
Blue Check
artists.
is barely a musical.
Wow.
Hey.
I wouldn't call it that. That's not musical.
Okay, well,
It's not-
six
no,
songs
it's not really
written,
musical.
as you'll all find out in the interview section. I mean,
Segment.
It's a music genre film, but it is not a musical.
my bait here is that you have directed musical scenes that have action orientation in them.
If you would like to nuance yourself to death, you're correct.
I nuance myself to full pleasure every time, my friend.
We even have a catchphrase.
Nuance. Hey, listen.
Hey,
Nuance.
listen. Yes, I run the show. Hey, here's my big thing. And nuance.
And I like that the audience will never know what the hand motions are that go along with...
It's your arm like an elephant trunk.
Yeah.
Down at below your waist.
Wait,
That's
but
all
just
it is.
to bring it back, why did you bring that up with Nick about monologues?
Oh, just because they cut out the villain monologue.
Oh, the monologue on the cliff or the hilltop in the beginning between Wes and Shaw.
Yeah.
It's more like a father-son talk
Yeah,
kind of
they're
thing.
just talking.
And
I'm
Wes is
proud
like-
of you.
And Wes is like, I don't know what to do with my life. What am I? I want something that's mine. Like it's kind of whiny. I know, I'm kidding. I love it. But but we cut a lot of Shaw's stuff out of that too. So like, I loved it. I liked it on the script. I liked it when we filmed it. Andrew Wheeler is awesome. He knocked every scene out of the park. Shaw. And but it was just for pacing and timing. We just had to trim them down. But I saw the first 2.5 hour cut and I was like, great, cool, let's go. Theaters.
One of your internet trolls
I was just so excited.
said that Wes's arc was abrupt, and I have to admit, I did find it abrupt when Shaw says, "I'm proud of you."
Oh yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
I found it abrupt today when I watched. I didn't find it abrupt.
Before I
last-
answer, why do you think it's abrupt?
I didn't see him as a father figure so much as just like, well, and I'll try and nuance this with my own
Okay.
bias. When you're in a gang, the leader of the gang is your boss.
Correct.
I would never call my boss, dad. And I mean, just like you don't at work anymore. And
Okay.
Why you
people
bring
will
that
get
up?
that when they listen to the interview, you see?
Sure they
This is
will.
how we tease
Yeah.
all the segments.
It's all based on whatever. Keep going.
My point is just that I sort of get now when in this conversation how you see this person having an existential crisis at the beginning. That is to imply like then they're talking to their elder, their superior, the person who is above them in the organization, which takes on a father-son like dynamic.
Sure.
So then him achieving pride.
But why does he take on the father-son dynamic? Because in that scene on the hilltop when they're talking,
yeah.
just to come at you,
Please.
right? Shaw talks about
put your
when
pants down.
I found you and your brother, you were nothing more than whatever. You were very young, is what he says. I forget the exact line. So the backstory there that he delivers in the film, if you listen to the movie, is that Shaw, he found these two boys and raised them as his own.
I didn't take Shaw to be a reliable narrator of that.
Oh, sure.
I thought
Okay.
him as being overstating. Again, because I'm looking at this from,
Okay, that's
well,
cool.
I'm a criminal. This is my profession. This
Yeah.
is my boss.
Yeah.
He's always going to say, you were nothing until I made you better. It's because of my system, because of I'm the coach that coached you into a better game. That's
But he says at the end of that scene, he says I wanted you to take over It's like as if it was
over your brother because
yes,
you show more.
and over all the other guys. Like
Yeah.
you will take over when I am gone because I just want to go to New Orleans because I want to go south, right? So he's planning to.
But he
leave.
doesn't say New Orleans, does he?
I
In
think
the
he
in the
might.
released version?
Well, maybe in the scene when we shot it, and I wrote that. But I think he says I want to go south or something like that. Maybe.
Okay.
But he's like there's no. What does he say? It's a common theme in westerns is like the end of the West. Is kind of the westerns hit that a lot, like Unforgiven, right? It's like it's the end of the West, the raw West, right? So Shaw talks about that like there's no more space or something for men like us. So Shaw already sees this time ending.
The
and he's
1890s
going
being the end of the Western era?
Yeah, I'm kind
Before
of.
we enter the Gilded Age?
Yes, and the Industrial Revolution and all that stuff, right? Yeah, exactly. And cars are not that far away from 1890, right? And that's the death of the horse.
Was that
as far
20,
as
30 years?
yeah, kind of, I guess, right? But that's
One generation.
pretty much exactly. So, but Shaw says that in the end, and this is where Andrew was amazing. Andrew, he talked the whole thing about the end shootout on the clifftop being like a samurai film, like a Akira Kurosawa, and that just like lit me up. Like, oh, okay, let's do this. So when Wes comes into the camp at the end, like when the climax like starts, right? And at first there's no one there, and Shaw's calling out to him. That's straight out of Yojimbo by Kurosawa. That is like almost a couple times a shot for shot like. But also, Sergio Leone used that too. I think in
The Magnificent Seven is the Seven Samurai. So
Seven
like,
Samurai, but
this
a
is
few,
like
a few dollars more.
Yeah.
Is Yojimbo,
Yeah.
right? So the same. So like these echoes of film storytelling, right? So you can just use it's a trope, sure, but if it's done properly, in my opinion, it can be more like an echo. Anyway.
Wait. Okay, you're saying there's a difference between a trope and an echo. Why?
I think a trope is done badly. If you do something that another film did badly, it's it's a trope. That's just a thing, a common thing that happens in a film, right? But if it's done well, you don't think that because it's done well. Therefore, it's more, and then you think after the fact, or even in the moment, like, oh, this is a lot like that. Oh, but it's cool. Right? If you think that, then it's not a trope.
Well, I always thought like trope was written and echo is like a visual thing, isn't it? Like a
You could argue that too.
Yeah.
I think you can
Reference.
I think they could be more like story echoes.
Well, trope is like, it's like everyone going to a cabin in the woods for a horror movie, but you can do it a way where it's like it feels fresh and then no longer you're not thinking trope,
Right.
Because it's being done in a way that
and-
you're putting other stuff on top where you're forgetting that this is something that's been done a million times because you're adding something new to it.
And then the movie Cabin in the Woods took all of the tropes and used them as what they were.
Yeah.
And you elevated them so they're it's a commentary on the tropes,
I prefer what Companion did this year. Did you see Companion?
I have not seen Companion.
Without spoiling anything about the movie, the less you know going in, the better. It is a movie about people going to a house and bad things happening.
Right.
Essentially, right? Companion is a movie about people going to a
Yeah,
house.
I won't say anything that I know because I would spoil, but like
Yes.
I know that much about it.
I
yeah.
realized that finishing it with Mrs. Farx last night. You're laughing at the fire in your
Sorry,
movie?
no, it's a line.
What's the line? What's
doesn't
the
make any-
line you wrote
He's
that
like,
you're laughing
we gotta
at?
get off this trail. Like, there's no trail. There's no discernible trail that they're on.
Referring to the Oregon Trail? Or?
No. I love it. Sorry.
The flare though, that anamorphic flare though.
Sorry to cut you off about your whatever that rant was. Back to my movie. We cut a scene where Shaw puts his hand in the fire from on the top of the frame, right, to feel the warmth of the ashes to know like, how far behind he is or whatever. And what we cut was he stands up into the shot, whatever. But what we shot was and wrote. He like walks back to the horse and gets on the horse, and then he says a line, and then they all ride off the screen. That all got cut. But the line that he says there is straight out of Red Dead Redemption 2, which is let's make some ground or something like that. That's what Dutch, the bad guy in that game. I wrote this while playing that game.
Okay,
Oh,
so
nice.
While I was writing, I would write it and then like take a break and play the game, and then write more and then play the game.
do you still do that? Write and then play video games?
Not really anymore. I play games. I'm trying not to because I'm 42. I'm trying to, games in moderation. But I will, if a game is directly referencing or in the same thematic space as a thing I'm writing, I will at least look at it, watch it, like look at clips and do that stuff. If I want to play it also as a gamer, then I will also buy it. But if I have,
Can you give an example of where you've done that other than Red Dead Redemption?
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
And
2077.
Sure.
A short I wrote that's similar to that.
Okay. It takes place in the future, I take it?
Yeah, in a post-apocalyptic kind of cyberpunky environment.
I'm still stuck on this like echo versus trope thing because I think trope is like just the thing itself without good or bad. Cabin in the woods, that's a trope of horror movies.
Sure.
How it's done, that's a different thing. An echo, like you're saying, is a copy, but
It's like homage almost, isn't it? Echo
Yeah,
more
so
like
think
that.
of it as a
'cause-
spectrum.
Yeah.
Like let's use a spectrum as the example. Like where does trope land on that? Where does echo? Where does homage? Where does rip off?
well, echo is just a nicer form of rip-off to me.
Really?
Why are they different?
I would argue
Echo-
Echo doesn't last that long. though.
Echo sounds prettier.
Maybe it's just referencing something
Yeah.
lightly, where it's like people who have seen the things I've seen as the director or whoever.
Sister
is
Sarah.
I like this Nick better than
they'll recognize they'll recognize that when I have a guy standing outside in silhouette outside of a building, you just got out of a cab, they know I'm referencing Exorcist.
right.
But that's not a trope because you don't see that enough.
Whereas the hats and the horses
So-
are
yeah.
tropes.
There's a shot in Sanctified of Shaw being with the cameras inside his tent, and he stands at the doorway of the tent and then leaves. Right. That's a poorly done version of what's the John Wayne movie, The Searchers?
Okay.
Like classic, incredible film.
Is that the one with Jimmy Stewart?
No, that's
What's the
the
one I'm
man who
thinking?
shot Liberty Valance, I think.
Okay, sure.
But no, that the end of The Searcher is a very classic shot of like the cabin doorway, and he's in the silhouette there, and then he walks off into he's like, I can't do the domestic life, I have to go be a cowboy.
Yeah.
Very classic shot, right?
Like the end of Hurt Locker.
Yeah.
Where I'm stuck in my head is that I keep hearing Aaron Sorkin, I can't remember through who, on The West Wing saying, good writers adapt, great writers steal outright.
Yeah.
So like, why isn't it just, we're doing the same thing as Yojimbo. Suck it if you get it. And if you don't, you are illiterate swine that I'm educating.
But stealing in a way that's too obvious is a ripoff.
Can
right?
you give an
And I do
example
agree with
from
you
a movie?
that you could almost. I do agree with you that trope could almost be not even on this spectrum, but could be it's the spectrum of the tropes. Or
Yes.
that I agree with. Like
How
that
they
is
use
the
the trope.
thing. Yeah, I agree with that. But ripoff and then
Echo?
homage. Homage and echo, but. Just to throw another term into the mix.
Oh, please.
An echo could be more like it's like a wink. Like the filmmaker is winking at the audience.
It's like an Easter egg almost.
Right? And by
Yeah.
echo is you are referencing other films that have come before you. So therefore the echo of it was done here initially and then boom, 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 boom. Through the generations, this same idea is echoing through the generations.
Like POV shots from
Out of a trunk.
what's that?
Quentin Tarantino.
Like shots out of a trunk.
Oh, sure. I totally same. I was gonna say I think it's the exact same thing, but like POV shots of a serial killer. Everyone gives credit to Halloween, but it's like that shit was done in Black Christmas like 4 years earlier, and it's the same thing.
And was done in Night of the Hunter in 1955.
Oh, really? I that's on my list of
Which
movies
is
to
Scott
watch.
Derrickson, the
but I
guy
haven't
that
seen it.
directed Sinister and Doctor Strange. That's one of his favorite films ever.
They do a POV in that.
I'm pretty sure.
Really?
It's been a
Okay.
while, but he's a child killing serial killer.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I saw the made-for-TV 90s remake, so I knew the basic gist of Night of the
Killing
Hunter. and I've
Children in
heard all-
1955?
yeah.
What's that?
Have you seen M?
Dial M for murder?
No, just M.
What's M?
Fritz Lang, German film, 1930 something, I think.
Okay.
Before Hitler did his thing. Fritz Lang, and he's a child killer in Germany, and but there are POV shots from the killer's perspective in that.
Because
But who did it first? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Orson Welles, 1940. I don't know.
I'll make a reference that is awkward. Is Birth of a Nation to Black Klansmen when they have two. What? That's not how you say it?
That's awesome. No. That's an awesome comparison.
No, but he calls it out while he's doing it.
Yeah.
The Birth of a Nation, I believe, was the first movie to show two things going on simultaneously and then cutting between them.
Sure.
Which they show the KKK members doing in Black Klansman, and then they cut to the civil rights speech that's going on simultaneously to that while they're watching Birth of a Nation. If you get what's going on, it's like,
absolutely. Right. So it's an homage, an echo, whatever. Those are kind of interchangeable, I think, to a degree. But another famous film that did that exact same thing, that is The Godfather. The ending of The Godfather during the I'm not Catholic, during the baptism of his kid.
While they're killing all the people?
While they're killing everybody. So famously done, cutting back and forth between those two things happening at the exact same time.
Is that at the beginning of the movie? I have not
That's
seen
the end of The Godfather.
It's the end. It's like the end.
Oh, okay. Because I confess I've never seen The Godfather all the way through it, but I've seen that sequence.
The door is right there.
You and Mrs. Farx.
But that was a running joke.
Sake.
That was a running joke in the show Overcompensating. Like he had to pretend he'd seen The Godfather for the movie club.
Have you heard of this movie, or this TV show, Overcompensating?
I did not care for The Godfather.
You did? Wait, really?
No, I'm kidding.
Was that another
That's
Family
Peter
Guy?
Jackson. Peter Griffin. The what? Overcompensating? I have not seen this show.
That's we keep talking about it because he watched it with roommate friend, and then Mrs. Farx and I watched it, and it is about a young man coming out as gay in his first year of college.
Okay.
But it is 34-year-olds playing.
It
18,
is, and I
19-year-olds.
was calling that out, but that's not. I sold it short on the first episode, and by the second, I've been like, oh, the writing's actually funny.
No, it was funny. I
was expecting it to be like 20. I think because they're older. If it was a bunch of 22-year-olds writing it, the jokes would have been.
I watched all of Greek. Okay, I'm not like here to judge.
No, but that was a different era, and this is like now. If you had a show that was being written by a bunch of 22-year-olds, and it's gonna be like I don't even want to go into it, but like it would be funny.
You brought up Quentin Tarantino earlier. I was gonna say, is this more Jesus Christ or Quentin Tarantino when she takes the foot out?
Oh, it's absolutely. It's one of the most heavily Jesus Christ moments.
So Quentin Tarantino, because you show the foot, and
right. Okay. Yeah, pretty much. No, but this is the scene where Wes washes Hildy's feet. I mean, that's straight out of the Bible, but that's just a very general kind of Protestant Christian thing. Like it's an act of servitude and humility.
Can I tell you why I disagree with it?
We should disagree with which part I just said. Having it in the movie, or that it's an act of servitude?
I agree it's an act of servitude. Okay. I agree it's in the movie. I think if we're demonstrating Christ's love, shouldn't the nun be washing his feet? And you would argue, oh, this is his arc towards being sanctified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be his arc.
That's interesting.
That'd make more sense. Huh?
What's interesting?
I think it'd be kind of too expected. At this point in the script, though, and in the film...
It would be a ripoff instead of an echo?
No,
of the Bible?
It would be... Well, yeah. Well, there you go. No, it would be... she's still wary of him. Doesn't trust him. At all, right? Like this is him earning her trust, right? And that he is shedding a piece of his old self. We're seeing the real Wes, who's actually like a good man and not the outlaw that his father figure has tried to raise him to be.
Unless he has a fetish for feet. And this wait, how did you get that's a makeup effect on the back of her?
Yeah.
I've seen that done before, and I very much like that, having done that to my legs before.
Yeah, she was great. She was from LA. We flew her out.
Tiffany Cornwell?
No, the makeup artist.
Oh!
Tiffany's in LA now.
Yeah, I know. I saw her in season 4 of Hacks.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I don't know her person. She was in season 4 of Hacks. She plays a pregnant stand-up comedian.
Oh, okay.
And she was pregnant at the time. I'm
aware. From other factors, people who know her, that sort of thing. That's definitely Quentin Tarantino. Why does she need a tragic backstory?
Everybody has a tragic backstory.
Because without it, it's boring.
See, I don't agree. I think that kind of makes... I just watched Drop recently with Mrs. Farx.
Oh, that dating movie?
it is the dating movie where
Yeah.
she's getting drops to her phone that, hey, you have to do this or we're going to kill your son.
Sure.
And that had a tragic backstory, and I haven't given anything away about that movie. I found her tragic backstory to be somewhat perfunctory and like, what? How does it...
In Sanctified?
Yes. And like, it's kind of like, oh, so all the women need to have bad stuff happening to them kind of thing?
There's one woman.
And no, well, also Claire is...
Claire is awesome.
Like, why
Yeah,
can't she
she's
just be a
cool.
nun because she loves Jesus so much?
She could have been.
But you wanted
That
to
would have
make
been a
her...
great scene. Why do you want to be a nun? I don't know. I just thought I would be.
Love Jesus.
I just love God so much that I figured I'm going to devote my life to
My
him.
husband killed my kids and I killed him, and then I became a nun.
It was either
become sanctified?
to kill myself or choose God.
Yeah.
So she chose God after killing her husband.
Yeah.
Why did her husband kill her kids?
Because he came back from
The Spanish?
the Civil War.
Oh, the Civil War? No, that would have been 25 years prior to this. She would have been, because she's 30 here, so she would have been 5. So he's having post-traumatic stress. Because this takes place in 1890. The Civil War ends in 1965. So it's been 25 years since the Civil War. How old is her husband? Her ex-husband that she's killed. How far in the past did she kill him?
How do you know she's 30?
I don't know she's 30. I'm just estimating her age, which means she would have had to have been born in 1860 because the movie takes place
Well,
in
obviously
1890.
she's not 30 then. If we're going to make this
How old is she?
timeline work.
Director
You
of the
know,
movie, Nick Swedlund?
that part is not specified.
So she post-traumatic stress
She was-
of the bloodiest domestic war.
She talks about, again, if you listen to the dialogue,
I have poor listening
she
comprehension.
talks about being a nurse, being like a 14-year-old, 15-year-old nurse in the. That might have got cut. Actually,
So she's supposed to be... No, that's not in the movie.
well, no, but I'm trying to think like.
See, you know things because you wrote them, and then they're not all there. But
Welcome to
I believe
filmmaking.
you. Yeah, I know.
Good Lord.
I'm aware.
That's the challenge of editing. Is like, oh shit. Well, if we take that out, then this other piece doesn't make any sense.
Well, and that's kind of why I feel confident in being able to go, here's what I don't like about your movie. This guy I've talked to for years, and I've never made a feature film.
Right there,
but
he was all torn to bits. This is the exact scene that I'm referencing. It wasn't the physical wounds that caused the most pain to my husband, though. I know I'm giving
You're
context.
poorly reading the...
Right? I know that goes everything against what you believe. Anyway, whatever. And then Wes, and then so he just washed her feet, and she's opening up to him again, and then he shuts her down harder than any point in the film. Right here in this scene at the river.
Because he's not open to... Wait, this isn't when she tells him about her tragic backstory?
Well, no, that was at the campfire.
That's right. Okay.
Right.
That's first.
But
that
she's
shit.
proselytizing to him. She's preaching to him, and he doesn't like it. He goes, "It's not for me, sister. Okay, I don't buy into your way of life." I'm reading the subtitles. You have a fire inside you, the fire just like my husband, or whatever.
Have you seen these subtitles on this before?
No, I haven't actually. It's kind of cool. It's very weird.
95% accurate.
It's weird to read the things I wrote, and it's cool.
Years later?
Yeah, it's neat though. It's very cool.
I'm glad you're having this
And
experience.
right, he says
Nick.
he says bullshit. She goes, God doesn't harm those he loves. God loves all his children and watches over them. And then he says, did he watch over yours?
Damn.
Which is just like a knife to the heart. Tiffany, in that shot, a close-up of her reaction where she's holding back the tears, we did a take of this. I told Dan this time, because the line is, in the movie, the line is, in the script, a line is, did he do that for yours, or whatever it is there. I told him to say to Tiffany, to say to Hildy, tell that to your dead kids. Because the camera is on Tiffany, not on him, right? So in that take, so it caught Tiffany off guard, and she was able to it hit her so much harder because Tiffany is a pro and did her homework and did thought experiments and her whole process about
having dead kids.
Yes, she did. She
wasn't the mother at this point.
She was not, but she journaled about her children.
Did she show you these journals?
No.
Oh. No. She journaled about what her kids were like before.
I think so.
How old were they when her ex-husband killed them?
They were young.
Above 2, under 10?
We had to get very
I
specific.
need to know the ages of these kids.
Yeah.
Because killing a baby is different than killing a 4-year-old versus killing a 10-year-old.
Oh, is it?
It's still a kid being murdered. What
Different
do you mean?
levels of innocence.
Are you debating killing a baby over a 4-year-old?
So you're on record as saying it's better to kill a baby
I
or
did
a
not say
4-year-old than
better
a
or
baby.
worse in any direction. I said it's different.
You implied
Yeah,
a hierarchy.
because of the implication.
Isn't there one? Is there
They're
not
all
one?
bad.
I would argue
All the same
no.
level.
1 day old versus 1,000 days old. You're not saying there's a little difference.
The 1 day old has less to miss, so maybe that's better.
Oh, so now you've gone on this thought experiments. Maybe you should journal about some thoughts you've had. I'd love to see what comes out of that.
No, but Tiffany was awesome. She both was like upset with me for a moment, and like she said, "Oh, that was great." Too.
Wait,
So-
she was upset with you for like catching her off
for
guard?
tricking her, basically. Yeah, but I think that is using that type of directing when you can use the other actors to influence the other actors and in an ethical way, right? Don't tell them to do something crazy, right? Because it all consent is important, right? Even in like dialogue scenes.
Wait, consent in a dialogue scene. So you're saying that he could have said something that would catch her so off guard that would be unprofessional.
Sure, and maybe dialogue scenes like it implies like if I told her to slap her or something like that needs to be scheduled and rehearsed and whatever like that.
That's a meeting.
Exactly. But what I did there in that thing was telling the actor to say a different line to elicit a new or more raw reaction from the other actor in the scene. That's just good directing.
That's just
In my
straight science on directing, my friend.
In my opinion.
Wait, so what I'm hearing is that you knew how deep in she was. Like, was Dan journaling about his kid? No, okay,
Dan was in full panic mode the whole time.
Why?
Because he's producing the film, and like he was incredible though, because he was able to. What a pro! He was on The Leftovers.
He was a clerk in a scene on The Leftovers.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, but in New York, that's an HBO show. Like he was, on that. Anyway, he's an incredible actor, and but the proof was to watch him while he would click from like talking like, okay, yeah, let's do this, and this, producing tasks in full hair and makeup, and then we do the scene, and he's like, he's crying. So the way he can turn it on and off he is a pro.
Those are different types of. Well, aren't there pro actors who don't do that though?
Yeah, for sure. There are different actors like
stay in character.
Like Andrew Wheeler, who plays Shaw. He wanted to be referred to as Shaw, kind of the whole time we filmed.
Like when Spielberg texts Daniel Day-Lewis and he had to call him Mr. President.
Yes. But that helps Andrew stay in character, stay in that space, be referred to by that name. Helped him over the month of shooting.
How'd you trick Andrew?
Did you
ever trick Andrew?
Andrew was untrickable. Andrew was a gem.
Because he's telling you about, hey, what if you took this Japanese movie and turned it into a Western?
He came up with this. Andrew elevated the script beyond his character, influenced it beyond. He's amazing. I owe so much to him. He came up with he basically uncovered the main point of the script that I didn't even realize I wrote.
Wait, what is that?
The sanctification of Christ on the cross is what we're talking about here. That you cannot be sanctified without the shedding of blood. That this is a very, very Christian message here, but Christian theology is you cannot get to heaven without the shedding of blood of Christ, right? You cannot be sanctified without Christ's blood. That is the thing. His sacrifice is what sanctifies us. We are sanctified because of his sacrifice. If I say that again in a different way.
No, I've seen The Last Crusade.
Right,
yes.
exactly.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
He chose poorly.
Andrew basically, like in my conversations with him leading up to the shoot and during the shoot, it was like, wow, and he brought in this whole King Richard III, like Shakespearean. So Shaw's holding a book, and he's reading Shakespeare. He's reading Richard III, the play.
Sure.
Which is what Shaw, he quotes the Shakespeare line at the end of the film when he says, "My kingdom for a horse."
Sure.
Right? That's Andrew's influence on the script. So the script changed because Andrew brought so much to the story. There were moments where I was like, that doesn't fit. So I would like say no to some stuff.
What's an example of that? We talked about that in your
trying to remember
interview that's going to come out after.
Not to remember what I said no to, but Richard III, is that the right play, I think, right?
Richard III is the one Kevin Spacey's doing in House of Cards.
Maybe, yeah. But like whatever the one was, like he had fitful sleeps because he was like being tormented by the ghosts, the people he killed.
Yes,
I think is in that play.
And doesn't he talk directly to the audience throughout?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't read it. Shamefully.
Nick Farx hasn't seen The Godfather.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so whatever.
I'm good. Although Shakespeare is arguably more. Anyway, but this is a long story. But the fitful sleep thing. So we had the scene where we had a shot of or a scene of Shaw sleeping. I think when Wes points the gun at him, right? I think it was during that scene, and Andrew wanted to do this whole thing where he was like in bed, like kind of like tossing and turning, like tossing and turning, and his eyes were flickering, and it was just like, okay, that's too much. It was too big, right?
Damn it! I wish I could bait you on that, but I
so
agree
we
with
cut
you.
that out.
Yeah.
Not because it was too big, because for pacing, but we had to do like 4 different takes where I was like, okay, that's great, less. Okay, that's great, less, and then it all got cut anyway. But had that stayed in, we would have used the just the faint flickering eyes, not the whole like breathing heavy thing. That's
the easiest thing a coach can tell a player is to do less.
Right, exactly. But that's but when you're working with actors, also they're very nervous and sensitive and whatever. Sometimes telling them up front that like, so what I need different versions of this scene from you, of this moment from you, because the edit, I don't know, we want to have different versions, so we don't have like 8 takes of the exact same thing. That's not helpful in the edit. So when I explain that to them, and usually if they know, they're pros, they know that, right? But if they're kind of relatively new, arguably like me too, but that helps me when I'm talking to them to give like, okay, because if they're doing something, it's just terrible, awful, I don't want to say that it's awful. I'll say, that's great, we have that, that's good. That piece is locked. Now
so
let's try this.
Say that, folks. That means you hated it.
Not all the time.
Wait, you're saying on your 4th feature, you think you're still new?
Relatively speaking, yeah, sure.
Why?
Because we always have something to learn. Budget wise, 4th feature is not that big of an achievement. Budgets are how that could be determined. Like, All the Time in the World was basically $0. Bob Brothers was $20,000, $30,000 after post. Sanctified was $125,000. I've only done 3 features.
Oh, your 35 millimeter film was not a feature.
Not a feature, short film.
That would have been.
That was my thesis
expensive.
film at AFI. Yeah, that was like a 20-minute thesis film. So,
Got it.
Yeah.
Because you made 4 20-minute thesis films, and I read that on your LinkedIn.
No, not
I didn't
thesis
say that.
films, but other films.
Oh, excuse me. One of them is your like senior or not senior.
Yeah, I'm a fellow.
Your capstone.
Sure.
I honestly
They
don't
might
know.
have called it a capstone, actually.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, they called
Take
it
that,
the thesis
master's
production.
level, folks.
What?
You have a master's degree, correct?
Yeah, an MFA.
An MFA. My wife has a master's degree as well, so I feel educationally inadequate, and even in my own home.
MFAs don't matter.
Do you want to shit on any other local productions before we exit out of this segment?
I don't know. I mean, whatever. No, I don't want to. I will. If you bring it up.
I have no... you made this in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Where's Minnesota today? Nick, you made this movie in North Dakota.
Uh-huh.
And not in Minnesota for the Dan reasons of Dan making movies in North Dakota. But what is North Dakota doing better than Minnesota? Or what can Minnesota be doing better to be more like...
In film? I assume you mean in film. No.
Wait, you had thoughts on other
North
things?
Dakota does not have a film industry. North Dakota is Dan. Dan is primarily the entire North Dakota film industry.
Okay.
He's kicking ass. He's made like 4 films now up there. It's awesome.
Wait, which number was this on those
Number
4?
1.
So he's made 3 more features since?
Yeah. So we shot this in May of 21. He shot the second feature in August of the same year. And then last summer, I think it was, or 2 summers ago, he shot Hazel, another Western. And no, sorry, that was not a Western, kind of the period thing in the winter. Anyway, Hazel, and then he shot Empress of the Badlands, which is about the founding of Medora, the city of Medora that we shot near and stayed in.
I've been to Medora, North Dakota.
Yeah, so the namesake, Medora, the woman, was the Empress of the Badlands. Anyway, so he wrote and directed that movie. That hasn't come out yet.
Why did he direct? Why didn't he direct it?
I don't begrudge him at all. I mean, he's coming out. He's finding the money. He wrote the script. Like, why not direct it? Like, he's I feel privileged that I directed the first one, and then another friend of Dan's directed the second one, and then now he's directing his films. And I think that's awesome. I think he used, in a polite, good way, used both myself and the other director to kind of learn. But he'd worked on HBO, so he knows directing. He directs plays, like he knows directing. But I think, and I don't want to speak for him, but I think it was more like how the camera interplays with the actors as opposed to just the stage. I think that maybe he learned stuff from us. I don't know, but I'm glad for him. He's making a film and directing them. I'm looking forward to both of them.
I've heard you delineate directors as being more into like the actors or more into the technical camera pieces, the staging, and you like to think of yourself as going to both.
I want to be an expert in both. Yes, that's my goal. I think I naturally lean toward the camera because actors are, enigmas, and they can be intimidating in some way because you don't really know what they're doing.
Have you ever used the word enigma before?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's just a question.
I chose that word over scary or intimidating. I think I said intimidating, but
wait, why would you find an actor intimidating?
Well, it depends on who they are, right? So if they're a known name and they, you know their whole story and you see their films, like of course there's like the celebrity factor, right? But just
have you worked with anyone like that you felt that worked towards?
Not as a director yet. No.
Okay.
No.
Tyra Banks notwithstanding.
Yeah, I spoke to Matthew Lillard on Zoom about Junk.
Would you use him instead of Garrett Del?
No, he would have played Frank, the bad guy in Junk, but it's like once you start talking to these people. They're just people, right? So it's fine, right? So once you get to know them, it's fine. But
so going into talking to Shaggy, you were a little nervous, but then
of course,
because he's Shaggy.
Well, because you're seeing this person in front of you, and they're talking to you, but also this part of your brain's watching every movie they've done at the exact same time.
Without a paddle, and I don't dislike that movie.
As you're trying to talk to him about your script that he read and likes, you're just thinking, "I'll be right back," from Scream. So it's like it's hard to like. I don't know. That you gotta like shut that down.
Matthew Lillard has an impressive career. I have that all the time with lots of people.
Have you seen The Bridge?
No.
He's in that. It was an American remake of the same name show called The Bridge from Scandinavia.
Oh, TV show.
TV show. The show. I said show. Didn't I say show?
Yeah, you did say show. I maybe saw the first episode of that. I'm not sure.
But what you asked was, what's Minnesota doing? What something?
Well, I would have gone with. Do you think Minnesota doesn't have a Dan? That's why it says. Because do we need a Dan here to make movies like he is doing in North Dakota?
I think I understand what you're saying. I think that it's probably we have too many Dans.
Too many Dans,
right? Like what Dan has for him is that he is arguably right now at least the only one doing it in the state. Right, so he's monopolized the market in the best way possible. Like that's his thing. Here we've got a whole plethora of filmmakers, and that's a great thing. But also, what has happened, I think, in Minnesota over the past however many years, is that we have all, I include myself in this, we've all kind of like island ourselves, or we're very siloed into different groups and whatever. For all our Midwestern Minnesota nice stuff, we're actually very infighty and bickering behind the scenes, and the conversations in the parking lots are longer than the actual conversations in the offices about problems, with the state. Like everyone talks in this office, like, oh, how can we fix this issue? And then that, it's an hour long, and then there's like a 3-hour conversation in the parking lot where everyone is just shitty on everyone else in that meeting.
Damn, right.
That happens here a lot. So if everyone just got out of the way and let me do my thing, that would be better.
Just made you the Dan of Minnesota?
No, but there needs to, but like.
What are the silos? Or, sorry, there needs to be like a...
like someone needs to go first. And I will remove myself from this, right? I'm not the one, let's say. Okay, I would love to be, but I'll cut myself out. If we all rallied around one person and pooled our resources, I mean financially especially, if we pooled our resources and made a film or a series of films with one person at the helm, right, who had their creative vision about a story, like we elevated one person, we would have a shot at like kickstart of an engine. Like we're just cold turning the engine right now, and what we need, we are so far behind everybody else. We need that kickstart.
Other states,
other countries, yes.
You need to make a fucking movie that like breaks out beyond just fucking Minnesota.
That doesn't screen at Twin Cities Film Fest or MSPIF.
Yes.
Love those festivals, but like the film that fucking wins Sundance comes from Minnesota. And then the sequel, not the sequel, but like the follow-up then goes to Tribeca the next 2 years or whatever. Like, that's my point. Like, and if it's Andrew Hunt, go, do it, make it, right? If it's Mike P. Nelson, awesome. I'm for it. The guy's awesome. I also will raise my hand and say, let's go do it.
Cousins out there as well? I don't know.
Yeah, Cousins too.
throwing out names. We should just throw out a woman and a person of color. I don't have any off the top of my head.
Which is a problem in the whole industry, of course.
Yeah, well, the problem that my bait at you is that this is a problem of the entire country. That the president has commissioned John Voight, your former employer, Mel Gibson, and I can't remember the third person. It's probably Steven Seagal or Hulk Hogan.
It probably is. I don't know.
But like this is
Hulk
a
Hogan's
country
dead
level
now,
problem.
Okay.
What? Sorry.
Hulk Hogan's dead, but
Yeah.
Well, date the bait. I mean, this will come out after he's been dead for a while, but he was in Three Ninjas,
Suburban Commando.
This podcast should be called Rabbit Hole.
It's a podcast.
It's Tangents the podcast.
This has actually been very on point for a podcast, which is
amazing.
I hear you, and I don't disagree with you. I don't know that could be controlled. That
Correct.
like something is good enough for Sundance from our state that represents Minnesota.
But I would counter that it doesn't necessarily have to make it to Sundance. We should at least just try to make at least one movie here then, right?
Well, if not Sundance, it's got to be
somewhere.
If it can skip Sundance and somehow have commercial appeal, great. You skip Sundance if you can do that. But like Sundance is like a barometer. Like it's a shorthand for like, oh, this thing
blew up.
This is a less than $10 million movie that did very well.
Yes.
And then
like if you could make the next Paranormal Activity here, like that never went to Sundance, I don't believe. I'm saying something that does well that didn't have to go through Sundance and all the gatekeepers like, oh, yeah, this is good.
I think to kind of yes, but what you're saying is that what you really need is a company like a Blumhouse or an A24 to grow naturally out of Minnesota.
Oh, wouldn't it be great to have a bunch of low-budget horror films shot in Minnesota back to back to back to back to back?
That'd be awesome.
To, I don't know, build a crew. And what if they were like under $1 million? Wouldn't that be great to like build? Oh wait,
well, they can't be under $1 million.
We can't do that. Oh, that's right, we can't.
Well, hey, maybe Nell will fix
because
that.
of the
Hey, you wrote a
bummer.
petition to get the last person kicked out right before.
I co-wrote and assisted on a petition, and I submitted it to the website. Yes, I clicked upload. I took that. I stuck my neck out and I clicked upload.
Did I really get one sentence in there?
What do you mean?
I read it before you hit upload, and I think I contributed one sentence.
I think you helped. I think
Yes,
in
I got
some
one
capacity.
sentence.
You want credit for
It's
that?
partly your fault too.
Yeah, I'm gonna take. I'm gonna.
No,
fault.
that was a
Melody, come on the show sometime.
Someone said, else that I respect greatly, that we didn't fire her or kick her out. She got herself fired. Basically. How she behaved, how she treated the crew and the cast and the filmmakers in our state was unbecoming of the position that she formerly had.
It's kind of like your problem with, or not your problem, but the critique of not you don't like hierarchies when it affects folks in this way. It seems
When it affects people negatively, absolutely not, right?
no. It's hierarchies for efficiency, great. Hierarchies for supremacy and like we need to bring Hollywood dollars in here and all
And
you
for
stupid plebes.
gatekeeping and supremacy, absolutely
Yes.
not. I think it's and film careers are built in the non-union space, and then you learn and you learn and you learn, and then you get onto a union film, and then you learn even more because now you're learning from the pros who've done it for forever, right? But without that series of non-union projects, which yes, they can be very problematic, like Stone Creek that we talked about in some previous version of our conversation, right?
That's the non-spoiler segment, which you've all heard before this.
Okay, great. I don't know the format.
I know.
But yes, those non-union films can be very dangerous and problematic for sure. But those are outliers. I truly believe they are outliers. Like the number of films that are made in the non-union space are made by people who want to make films, want to make them well, want to treat their collaborators well. I have to believe that. Otherwise, it's just a dark thought, right?
I'm going to try to gild the lily for people who are not inside baseball on all of this. Is what you're saying is that we have, what is it, like $10 million a year or $5 million a year for tax credit or tax rebate, excuse me?
25.
We have 25 per year?
Yes.
Okay.
The hams is influencing my
No
memory.
free ads to New Ulm. But the point I'm making is that the previous administration or the deputy director of an office of tourism that the film office falls under, advocated for keeping the minimum spend on a movie at $1 million
in order to qualify
for the rebate.
Correct.
And that would mean that you would have to be spending $1 million, and then whether it's $5 million or it's $25 million, that means that there would be 5 projects. Or no, it would have to be, because you get, 20% or 30% back? So the point is that there'd be 10 projects, whereas if the minimum were lower, let's say like 200,000 or something like that, you would have 5 times as many projects that could qualify theoretically.
Yeah.
Then there would be, because the gaffer on a $1 million movie versus a $200,000 movie isn't making that much different in terms of their daily rate. From a narrative perspective, obviously commercial's different.
On a union, compared to a union film.
A union narrative film. Well, I guess
that's the argument that the local 490 says. Yeah,
the union people make more money per day.
Well, they complain about those indie films don't create a living wage, right? And sure, this one Project A does not pay as much as Project A Union, right? As the Union Project A, right? Sure. But if you have one film a year or one film every 4 years, which is what the union films are at their rate, right? It's not even that, actually.
You're not getting reps. You're not
the last
playing.
project, I think Union Project was, someone can correct me on this, was like 8 or 9 years ago, I think, at this point.
Oh,
because Downtown Owl was not, man, maybe I'm wrong about that.
Are you talking IATSE Union?
Yeah.
Or, okay, yeah.
SAG's different. SAG does not have
a minimum spend, because you can do an ultra low budget on SAG. Even for like a 48 hour.
You can still make an ultra low budget in the state. You just can't get the state incentive, right?
Sure.
And you're more likely to have a SAG low budget film that's not IATSE, just for budgetary reasons, right? Because with the union films comes the per diems and the fringes and a bunch of other expenses. That's why a union exists, to protect the people, right? And I get that. That's awesome, but that's a thing to achieve, right? But instead, what we are being told is, no. We cannot make movies here unless they are union films, and we will also not train anybody unless they're being trained on a union film. And it's just like, okay, so when is the next union film coming? Oh, we don't know, but we're going to wait for that because no, we don't want to teach people the wrong way, right? But they're speaking out of both sides of their mouth, because then those same people will then go work on the non-union movies. So it's absolute horseshit coming out of their mouths. And I'm sorry, that's my opinion. And I think that the IATSE is awesome. Unions are great. They are powerful and they're strong. But that, with great power,
comes great responsibility.
And I think the union should learn something from Spider-Man, because what they're doing right now is they are holding us back as a state, as an entire state.
You're saying
IATSE, their own members.
You're saying IATSE's keeping the minimum at $1 million, and because
absolutely, they worked with the former executive director of Minnesota TV and Film to craft the incentive the way it's currently written. They worked, the local SAG representative and the leadership at IATSE 490 worked with Melody to create the incentive, and successfully, they raised the number from 5 million to 25. That's great. Love that. But then also they're cutting us off at the knees and decapitating us at the exact same time.
Because you can't pay a SAG actor more than $1 million and get...
You can't rebate above $1 million.
Above $1 million.
Right? So if I have a movie with my hero, Mel Gibson, as you say, right? And
that's what I called him.
And I know you did, right? And I want to have him come shoot here, and he is gonna be filming for 3 days, and he's $1 million a day, which apparently is his rate nowadays. Which I don't blame the guy, right? If I'm gonna make a movie that's where I have Mel Gibson at $1 million a day, it's a $3 million cost, because it's a 3 day for his days are 3. The film goes beyond that, and I can only rebate on one of those days of his whole salary. But in New Mexico, I can rebate all $3 million. Financially, I'm going to New Mexico.
Versus
absolutely every single goddamn time.
And that's only the United States competing against itself, not to consider how Ireland is more attractive than
New Zealand, Australia, Bulgaria. A lot of films are shot in Bulgaria right now. There's also worker issues there, to they pay them nothing. It's very cheap to film in South Africa, apparently, because labor is not exactly. Anyway, there's different laws. Yeah, but because we can't rebate above $1 million on talent, and that includes directors and producers as well too, like just above the line people. But then also you can't be rebated on a film under $1 million. So if it was like $500,000, I'd kind of understand, right? But if I have a film that is like $950,000. And I have this actor, like 3 name actors who love the script and they want to do it because they love the script.
And they're working at scale versus...
And they're doing it for scale. Maybe they're doing a Schedule F, which is like a kind of like a back-end points situation, right? If that hypothetical deal, we couldn't get the state rebate. Like that's so fucking stupid. And what it does is it does what Minnesota does best, is it pushes us out. It forces us to leave the state and go make our movies elsewhere instead of making our films
Minnesota.
Here.
Like how we silo each other within this community, you're saying that the state has siloed itself away from other states.
Yes, it's a self-inflicted wound that I hope to God that the new director of Explore Minnesota Film, Nell, who I've met, she's great. I really like her.
She was at the showing of Blue Check I was at, you were at.
I invited her and she came out. And that was great, And I think she seems to agree with what the rest of us on this the other side of this issue are saying, that like, no, these small films are training grounds for people who don't know what it's like to work on a big film. Not that I've worked on those big films, right? But how do I, as a director, how do the other directors in town here, how do we scaffold our careers when the union is saying no, you can only make a movie here and get rebated if it's over $1 million. But I haven't made a film that's even $500,000 yet.
So we could make 8 Sanctifieds for the minimum that they have in the state, and we're not getting 8 shots at a Sanctified level, 18-day shoot with, am I correct, 18 days?
20 something, I think it was.
Excuse
actually.
me. So almost
maybe
3-4. It was a whole month of people.
I don't remember.
And if you had 8 months you were working versus maybe a month and a half on a really, really big one, you'd rather work the 8 months regularly than 1.5 months on a really, really big one, and there would be less opportunities.
Yeah, I would say that one project, that one union film, like, well, it's not Downtown Owl. That one didn't flip. They're
bringing other people in. I watched that on a plane. Downtown
that's the
Owl.
other thing that they did. They said at the end, right before she was
you're talking about
asked
the town
to
hall?
leave her job.
Yeah, the town hall.
No, but before that, she changed, or somehow they changed the requirements or whatever the guidelines for the state incentive that the outside crew is 20% rebatable, whereas Minnesota crew is 25%. So now you just incentivized these producers who are going to bring a project here, which is great, to not hire your own union crew.
Well, they get 5%.
Right. So at a 5% sacrifice, they get to hire the people that they have worked with in the past, that they know can do it, that they like, that have more experience, right? Because a grip who has been in Minnesota their whole career and has worked for 10 years has less experience than a grip who has worked for 10 years in Atlanta.
On narrative, couldn't they have made it up in commercial somehow?
It's different.
Commercial versus narrative.
Yeah, absolutely different.
Why is that?
Why is commercial and narrative different?
Well, I know why they're different, and I've had this conversation with someone you've mentioned earlier.
I mean,
and I'm trying to illustrate this for people who are listening to this because they like movies and have listened to this long and are like, well, wait, if you're a guy putting up lights on a Best Buy commercial versus a Downtown Owl, why is that different?
Multiple reasons, but off the top of my head, like just the length of the time of the shoot, for example, like
you have 8 days versus 2 days,
right? 2 days, right? At $1 million a day, or whatever.
Yeah,
the commercials, and you're spending 6 hours, photographing a cookie, right? Which is a thing, or whatever the product is, right? Which is fine, but then on a feature, it might be you're on hour 16 and it's 3:00 in the morning and it's raining and you're outside holding a thing over a light. That's a different experience, and that takes a different skill set, and it's not, commercials are cushy.
It builds different character of
Absolutely.
The type of people.
Cushy in a good way, but like you're usually on a stage, or you're crafty's great, like
Well, it's like 3 or 4 setups for the day. A movie is like
you just scramble
30 setups.
Yeah.
Like who the fuck knows?
That's another the pace of the filming, right? But how do we learn how to shoot films? Not even that. It's not about. I don't want to teach Minnesotans to learn how to work on other people's projects. The people that come from LA. I think that's the whole problem with the union's outlook, and formerly the director's outlook, is that they do not see Minnesota filmmakers as real filmmakers. Right?
I didn't watch Sanctified on Jeff Bezos' streaming platform just now.
But she even kind of said that at the town hall. She alluded to that like, oh, well, we'll bring in the real filmmaker so you can learn how to work on a movie, which is so offensive. And she didn't have a clue. But also, I know that based on conversations I've had and things I've heard and meetings I've been in, that's generally how the local 490 leadership also views the filmmakers who live in Minnesota, not the crew. Their union members, they love. Great, right? But some of those union members also want to be writers, directors, producers, right? So
like you were when you were a PA. As people will find out in your interview, that's still coming out.
No, you scaffold the career, whether you start in one department and end up in another, or you.
I'd take two steps back from what you're saying, and I'd say, why as an 18-year-old would I ever pursue any sort of blue-collar film work, which I consider like quote-unquote below-the-line type work, but is reliable. It is a craft. It is a skill. It is something like being a plumber, being a nurse, being an electrician. And you have electricians on set. Right. Why would I ever pursue a career in that when, hey, maybe there'll be a movie every other year at best?
At best, every 5 years.
And I'll work for a month and a half, maybe 2.
Also, that 18-year-old's not getting hired on that film because that's one movie, and the union people, the union crew who are experienced and have been doing this for 20 years, rightly so, have the hierarchy to get hired first, because that's how the union works.
Why would I even try to enter that union, though, is my question to...
Right. But also their own bylaws, or whatever they call them, right, is like you don't have to... You as a union member in Minnesota, you can work on non-union films, no problem.
Oh, so if you're in the local IATSE...
So then why am I in this union? I'm not. But if I was, there's no... what's the incentive to be in the local union? Because the projects come once every twice a decade. That's the average right now since the 90s, right? And yes, Coen Brothers, it's an outlier thing, right? But there have been roughly 10 projects in the past few years that have not filmed here. And some of them are 8 million, 10 million, budgeted films. They would be a solid union film. They did not film here because of how the local 490 leadership treated them, or because of what they heard from other people who did film here, and they heard through word of mouth. Oh no, never mind. We're gonna go film it in Winnipeg. So just to reiterate, if this gets out and gets passed around, it's the leadership of 490 currently, not the fact that 490's IATSE. IATSE is great. I am pro-union, but I'm pro a union that actually works to give their union members work. And how do we get more union films? We got to make more films, period. Right? Just period. We have to raise so that we can have the one Paranormal Activity, the one Anthony Cousins film. If Frogman really hit hard, great. But then what's next? This should be a mill of movies in Minnesota, right? But Mill City, we should just be churning these out, right? Not to mention that they were so anti-North. They wanted everything to shoot only in Minneapolis and St. Paul, in the metro area, and that's a whole thing. And thankfully, we're in a new era now. But hopefully, we can actually improve things for the better.
Amen, Swedlund.
Amen.
And we're talking feature. Well,
features.
I think clearly, obviously, without saying it, we're talking features. No one gives a shit. Sorry, no one gives a shit. We've made a bunch of short films, and I can say no one gives a shit about short films.
Oh, I was about to say TV series would be great because that would be more guaranteed work for a longer period.
But someone has to be financing that for it to be guaranteed work.
Oh,
if we made a TV series and we're saying we're doing 8 episodes, we're not paying anyone.
What a TV series that's going to
if it was just us, So a TV series
there are so many. There are probably thousands of horror films and Christmas movies. Those two in particular that are under $1 million, but in that $500,000 to $1 million range. They're in that zone that are not coming here because it doesn't financially make sense for them. But if we can actually activate the that 25% for these people, but also the 70% if they shoot up north, it evens out a little bit lower than that because of
Stackable
math.
credits and rebates.
Right, but if
Sherry,
we did
Ricky,
that,
I listened to you guys.
no, but it's like the union what's the phrase, they cut off their nose despite their face. Yeah. That's my thoughts, and like I just I think we can do better. I think we deserve better.
Sanctified spoilers. Stay tuned for Nick Swedlund's interview. Doesn't cover this. Covers different things.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening. For more JK Productions, find us on Instagram at JK Productions Team and on Facebook, JK Productions MN.